Phone number for Loveline, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455.
Yes?
I'm just looking at you and Darrell. You both look shot. Show hasn't even started yet.
I'm okay.
And you're the guy that put in the hard day.
Well, not really. I did a little work this morning, but that's about it.
Day, yeah.
No, I did not nap. Took meetings. Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist. Tonight, our guest is Darrell Hammond. Darrell is from Saturday Night Live. What season or what year are you in with that show?
Just finished my third year.
I'm always scared to comment because it's sometimes people are on that show for 3 or 4 seasons and they're almost non-existent, and then they break out in the 5th season, and you think they've been on a year and a half, and you insult them when you say a year and a half, and it turns out they've been on 7 seasons.
Right. Well, it's a really weird system, and it sometimes, I mean, it takes time to learn how to work it.
We had Tim Meadows in here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was a very nice guy, and
great guy.
Tim. I knew Tim had been on for a while, and I was I was trying to be diplomatic when I was asking him how many years he'd been on the show. But I knew that my question to him basically is, you're like on your 6th season now, or something like that. How come I never heard of you? I never heard of you before 3 months ago.
And what did he say?
He smacked me.
He
was drunk. No, he was a very nice guy, and I think I was very appropriate the way I asked the question.
But what did he say?
He actually said he changed his attitude.
Did he?
Remember, he said he's decided to be more aggressive, and rather than waiting for somebody to come to him, try to really get on top of his game, and it worked.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
Well, but this is not the case in your situation. But I guess because of your ability to do the impersonations, you can find a home in many a sketch very quickly. And everyone knows Clinton and Donahue and some of the newscasters. But who is in your repertoire?
God, I've done Koppel. I've done Leno. I've done Hugh Downs. I've done Jesse Jackson.
Oh, yes, Jesse Jackson. Have you seen Jesse Jackson? The thing that's amazing is Darrell's a white man who really doesn't look anything like Jesse Jackson, but if you put the voice with it and you put him in the right suit and in the right wig and you have him posture just right, it's him.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen me do it?
Give a shot of Jesse,
can
please.
I have a little more headset volume?
Should have a knob right down there. Mike, get in here and turn that knob, would you? Darrell's a big star.
Oh, God. Hello. All right, here we are. Great. Is that going to feedback? No. Okay. Ask me any question at all, and I will tell you the way Jesse would answer it.
What is this, Drew? What is this proposition out here in Los Angeles? Well, I guess that's more of a Hispanic-oriented thing. What is the problem with the inner city, Jesse?
Well, we must separate the cream from the coffee. From the top down, not the bottom up, to combat the deficit. Blacks have not seen good times under Clinton.
Well, this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Like, I always wonder, like, does he have, like casual conversations? You know what I mean?
Would he speak like that in a casual conversation?
Yeah, because when I was in Washington once and I saw him in the food line, and his friends were talking to him and they were, like, pointing to some of the things on the buffet. And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? What does it sound like? So I'm like, Jesse, do you think you like some of this lobster or Jubilee?
Well, I saw the that apparatus in motion. It made good judgment, but not only that, it made good sense to have a hearty breakfast. And it made good judgment, but not only that, certainly made good sense to have a hearty lunch. I'll take the position. When there's something juicy for a queen bee, not when there's something juicy for a bumblebee. What? Huh?
Jesse, it's a bumblebee!
See, I like this Darrell because he actually possesses talent.
That's amazing.
It's quite a find. I did sketch comedy for many years and was basically drummed out for not having any talent. I have no ability to mimic. I do no dialects. I do no impersonations, except for David Viscott.
But he could talk about touching himself and use dirty words.
But nobody can talk about masturbation like I can.
Well, look, a guy's got to eat, huh?
Right.
You got to make a living.
So I shifted gears, and here I am. Darrell, what are your plans? I know you're going to be out here at the Irvine Improv Wednesday through Sunday, but as far as Saturday Night Live, of course, I don't know. Is there, and I know it's hard to answer this, but is there pressure on the cast because of the legacy that has sort of been left behind? I mean, all the guys, or so many of them, I should say, moving into these real lucrative film careers, and does that kind of put the pressure on you?
Well, it puts the want in you. You really want to try and step off onto the same platform, but the pressure just really comes from trying to consistently put together a decent show, you know, after all the negative publicity that happened a few years back.
What was the negative publicity?
Just that, I mean, I think there was a time when we started the show, we were there and we had just been hired and we didn't know, we had already done a show. And they were talking like, maybe we're going to just drop this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because of the people were, I guess, you know, the previous 5 years or so, everyone had been down on SNL.
They had some tough years when they had, I think, I don't know, Rich Hall was on the show or something like that. They had some weird cast members. Like there was a time when. I'm going to space everyone's name. The one guy's in prison, Robert Downey Jr., was a cast member. And what's the blonde-haired Anthony Michael Hall? And they had like a bunch of snot-nosed 17-year-olds doing the show. It was a really weird call. And the thing about sketch comedy and improvisational comedy and character development is it takes a little seasoning. I mean, it's hard to find people like under 25 who are worth a damn. Once in a while, Eddie Murphy comes. Eddie Murphy. It's a baseball player. Eddie Murphy comes blowing into town. Oh, could you imagine what a great improvisational performer that would be?
Eddie Murray,
and a great baseball player. But the point is by and large, it takes guys that are a little more seasoned.
It's just like so many things you have to learn. You have to learn so many different dialects and so many. I feel that you're probably right in that respect. I don't remember. Most people were probably 25 or over, except for Eddie Murphy.
Right. In any improv troupe I'd been in, there was no one really under 25 that was worth their weight.
It was really weird for me to be in Studio 8H where they do the show and see Eddie Murphy walk in, and then it was like a major thrill for me. And he walked over to me. God, it was weird. It was weird to stand in.
What year was this?
This is the last season. To be standing in his arena,
right,
and have him come walking across it, to me, it was just really.
What were you doing when you were watching him on Saturday Night Live?
I was watching a skit.
Where were you in your life?
I was probably, I was trying to make it in radio, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tried a long time.
You're doing morning somewhere?
I was, everything I could do, nights, mornings, overnights.
Where were you? Do you remember what city?
It was Florida, Vero Beach, and then Orlando.
Oh, what was the name of your morning show?
Rooster Roads and the Wake Up Crew.
That's good. It really sounds like a gay bar.
Yeah, and let's see.
Don't hit that again.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Anna.
All right, sorry, Joe. We got to squeeze some calls in, but don't worry.
Sure.
And later on in the show, I'd like to ask that you do your rendition of me and/or Drew. I don't want to put the pressure on you. I know you're good at this kind of stuff, and no one expects a home run.
Okay, Anna.
Hello?
Hi, what's going on?
I don't know what to do. I have a best friend, and her boyfriend have been going out for about 3 months now, and he's been hitting on me lately and flirting with me. And tonight we were talking on the phone, and he told me he thinks he's falling in love with me.
How old is he?
He is 17 also.
Is she having sex with your friend?
Not that I know of.
Why were you talking to him on the phone?
Because we're friends too. I've known him the same as long as she has known him.
Did you like him first?
I don't have any interest in him at all.
All right. So mightn't it be a good idea to sort of break your communication with him a little bit for a while? Just to give that relationship a chance and, protect your friend from pain?
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a part of you that wants her to know that he likes you?
Yeah, I want to tell her because...
You want to screw her over?
if he's doing this with me, who else is he doing this with?
No, that's not your reason.
Are you flattered by his overtures?
In a way.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Has your friend ever screwed you over?
No.
Okay.
No.
You have no reason to be angry with your friend or anything like that.
No.
Why don't you? My recommendation is just stay out of it. Just back off. I mean, who knows what this guy's motivation is? Who knows what he's really feeling? Who knows if he's really having those sorts of feelings for you? He may just.
For all we know, she put him up to it to see what kind of friend she was.
I say you just
far-fetched.
I mean,
but
he can still be a friend, but not for a while. Right now, you just end your communication with him. Be your girlfriend's friend. Let their relationship run its course, and just stay out of it. Okay? He hasn't done anything to hurt her yet. He's been okay boyfriend to her.
Yeah.
All right, just stay away from it.
Yeah, don't get in the middle of it.
Okay?
Okay.
There's some craziness here, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds like it's mostly him.
Yeah.
And is he kind of chaotic guy?
Yeah. He's, what is it called? Manic depressive.
Okay, Anna. Is he on medication?
He told me he stopped taking it 2.5 months ago.
All right. Well, if he's is he talk real fast and real pressured behind his speech?
Kind of.
Okay, he may be actually developing a manic episode, okay? He needs to be encouraged to take his
How long does
medicine.
it take you to develop a manic episode?
Depends on how sensitive somebody's chemistry is and what the nature of their bipolar illness is. If people stop taking their medicine, it can get out of whack pretty quick. Usually not. Usually takes weeks to months.
I've seen Lucy do it in like one commercial break.
Yeah, she could do it. But, what's your point?
All right, Drew.
Be that as it may. All right,
that's enough.
Look. The point
Stay
is,
away from her.
People
Fine.
that
Let's
are
move on.
manic do all kinds of strange things. Their judgment is impaired, and this may be just an expression of his mania. It has nothing to do with his sort of real intention to have a relationship with you. Amy, what's going on?
Hi. Yes, I've been diagnosed twice with PID, and my doctor didn't really explain to me what it is. And I was wondering if my husband comes, because we have sex like maybe twice a day.
Yeah.
If he comes with me every time, can that cause that?
That's a pelvic inflammatory disease?
Yeah.
Right. What did you...
Hold on a second. Darrell, can Jesse Jackson say pelvic inflammatory disease?
Pelvic inflammatory disease.
It sounds more like some sort of urban strife at that point than it does something you'd correct in the gynecologist's office. Amy?
Uh-huh.
Amy,
Right.
you understand it's bacteria getting into your fallopian tubes, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Right.
I mean, so it's like, because it says disease in there. Is that something that you just
Well,
carry all the time?
No, diseases just mean something
That's how we know it's bad.
has an abnormal state of physiology attached to it and a natural history, and that natural history may progress to resolution or it may become chronic. But PID usually is an acute infection. It can sometimes smolder for long periods of time. It is the leading cause of infertility in our country. And I hope you had a thorough course of antibiotics for each episode.
Yeah, but what does she do? Abstain?
Well, what was the question? You asked first, what is it? What was your other question?
Well, I have another question. Is if you have a yeast infection and your husband performs oral sex on you, can he get thrashed from that?
I've never heard of that happening, but certainly if his immune system is intact,
He should get a merit badge.
it shouldn't happen. If he had HIV or cancer, chemotherapy, or something like that, it's a possibility, I suppose. But we all have yeast in our mouth anyway. It's just that if the immune system can't contain it, it tends to overgrow.
Yeah,
Look,
but you know, the real goal is not having someone else's yeast in your mouth, Drew. I think that's
I
the key
understand
here.
that's your goal, Adam,
That's
but,
my goal. I think I speak for Darrell when I say that too, don't I, Darrell?
But Amy, I didn't hear your first question about the PID. What was it you don't understand
for
about?
Christ's sake,
it's important.
Drew.
You understand that, for God's sake.
No, that was great. I didn't realize this was like...
Don't buddy up with Drew.
Okay.
Amy,
You just do your goddamn Jesse Jackson and stay out of this.
Got it, pal.
Amy.
Well, the doctor didn't really explain anything. She just said that I had PID, and she didn't tell me anything about it.
What do you like to know?
Well, like, you pretty much explained that there's like, bacteria in there, and I was just wondering if it was from my husband coming to me, if it came from him.
He needs to be treated too.
Oh, he does?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't have it now, but I had it like twice.
Well, there's different ways you can get it. It's most commonly associated with chlamydia, but there's more evidence these days that it may be other bacteria. It may have nothing to do with a sexually transmitted disease. However, if you're going to be treated, he should be treated also. So,
How does he get treated?
antibiotics,
Oh, really?
same thing. The antibiotics right now are so good. You can really take a single dose of 2 antibiotics and pretty well
Can
protect
he take the
yourself.
one she's taken?
That's what he should do.
He doesn't need his own man
No,
ones?
he needs his own
Manabiotics?
He's a manovation manabiotic.
Oh, that's good, Drew.
Excuse me.
all right.
Manovative? What would it be?
Drew,
Manovative.
I don't know what you did tonight, but don't do it tomorrow night. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you had like a cup of coffee, or you're listening to show tunes on the ride in again, or something, but you're extra punchy.
Right.
Just relax. Drew usually is. I have to convince him not to kill himself
These are two
every
good
night.
calls, that's all. Also,
Loves being a doctor.
The other thing is we've probably taken 6 calls in the last 2 nights.
I've had a lot to talk
Yes,
about.
indeed you
Drew.
have, sir, and I've got to try to abort that tonight a little bit.
No, that's good. Carl,
Yeah.
you're 26.
Right on.
You're on with Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live.
Carl, this is just to make sure Adam's on his toes here, so please direct this question right to him.
Oh, okay, Adam, this is especially for you since you're an expert in this field. Dr. Drew, you can chime in with the scientific background.
Yeah.
I want to know if you guys thought that masturbation might cause excessive or any kind of hair loss in men. Might be kind of a strange question, but I seem to think it might be true.
I heard some guys talking about it on the radio tonight on the ride in, and they were talking about testosterone spikes, they called them.
Right.
And these are things that happen to young males, and then as you get older, you have less of them during the day. And they didn't know if masturbation caused the testosterone spike or the testosterone spike caused the masturbation. But the theory is that people that have high don't crap on my theories until I'm done spooling them out. Drew's already given me the puss and the nod. Hey, it's a name of it's a good name for a strip club. The Puss and the Nod. The theory is that when you have the testosterone spike, you lose your hair because guys that have high testosterone levels tend to lose their hair. Isn't that true, Drew?
I think there's some correlation there, and it's correlated with testosterone levels. And there's a new medication called Propecia that blocks peripheral testosterone and allows you to keep your hair.
So is there any correlate between masturbating and upping a man's testosterone level?
Yes.
There is.
There's an association between working out and elevating testosterone levels, association between being successful or having power. Actually, people that get into positions of power, testosterone levels climb.
Right.
So everybody in government should be bald.
Same with women.
So, what?
I'm saying women that get in a position of power have the testosterone spike as well. That's the unfortunate part. So is there anything behind this? Darrell, you have a thought on this?
What are the drawbacks, though, to Propecia?
We don't know. I worry about it. I mean, I think Rogaine looked simple enough, and I have no problem with that. But Propecia is a lifetime anti-androgen, and
It seems to me that when you undo what Mother Nature has done, you're in trouble anyway. I
happen to agree with you. I believe that you will never make a healthy person healthier with a medicine.
Yeah.
So you better be treating a disease that has some serious potential in order to take the risk of taking a medicine.
I've challenged Mother Nature on many a score.
Yes, and certainly me with the masturbation.
Been brutally beaten.
But look at that. I have I masturbate as much as like a regiment of guys, but yet I have hair covering my entire body, and it's thicker than ever on top of my noggin.
But maybe this is part of what's caused that tremendous and sort of that strange distribution of hair that you have. Maybe it's something sort of.
You're alluding to the hair on my ass, Drew?
Extra human, as something occurred. Maybe if you had the genetic potential for hair loss, you'd just would be all over.
That's an interesting theory, Drew. All right, and Rogaine, by the way, used to be $45 for a Visine size container of it. Now you get a 5-gallon bucket with a notch trowel applicator for like $8.
Yeah.
Why is that, Drew? How does that work?
I don't know.
You don't need a prescription anymore?
No, I don't.
Because Rogaine didn't work really very well, and Propecia's kicking some butt, and they're unloading the stock.
Well,
is that what it is?
Right. I mean, it's more widely distributed, and there needs to be greater access, and it's not as effective, and so its value drops.
All right.
I'm just making this stuff up.
No, it's true.
That's not a bad theory. All right, we'll sell this next call, and then we'll take a break. Mike is 25. While he was in jail, wife found a lover. Help, they have kids.
Mike?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Mike?
Yeah.
Why were you in jail? And I hope he gives us our number one Loveline answer that always amuses us so much.
Abusive.
Oh, that's not the one.
You what happened?
I got drunk one day, actually, the whole day, and I came home, and I don't know what happened. I just nutted, and
you beat your wife.
Exactly.
Okay. This is good. Hold on. We're going to put you on hold. We got to go to break.
Can you imagine her temerity and going out and developing another relationship?
Oh.
After he went through all the trouble to beat her.
Yeah. Some people have, don't you know that can be a bonding experience for many couples?
Fortunately, it is.
All right. And Drew, what is the number one answer our retarded Loveline listeners give us when we ask them why they're in jail?
Parole violation.
Is that a great answer?
That's a great.
And believe me, they're dead serious. They're ready to leave it at that. As if we get at least 100 answers a week as if we're going to go, oh yeah, that's rough. Okay, anyway, what's the problem? All right, Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live, and we will, be back.
Loveline's phone number.
For the Loveline, 1-800-LOVE-191, fax number. 310-854-4455. Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live. Dr. Drew's here from Pasadena, and we're ready to roll ahead. Darrell will be hanging out tonight here, and then Wednesday through Sunday you can find him in Irvine at the Improv.
Yeah.
And Darrell, as I mentioned before, actually possesses talent. This is an industry where a lot of people get paid a lot of money to do a lot of crap. I found, and most people I see, I always go, I'm better than that guy. But but Darrell, when he does all those crappy, godforsaken voices of his,
you know, you can't
touch him.
Yeah.
Just sit there.
God bless
Just
you.
sit there in a stew of your own humbletude. Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you out of jail now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, how long were you in jail?
42 days.
Does she still want to have a relationship with you?
You see, we were dealing with that this weekend, and Monday we had second thoughts about it, and then I really wanted to be with her, and then again today we talked, and she says, yeah, let's see if we can't work this out.
All right, so you beat her, you broke up, you were in jail, and she went on and got another relationship.
Right, and
but she's your wife, though, right?
yeah, exactly. We've been together for 8 years, and we got 3 kids.
Oh.
You know what I love about this show, Darrell, is in every other facet of society beside in this studio, when somebody says, how many kids you have? I have 3 kids. You go, oh, that's fantastic. What are their ages? They're 9 and 4, and one's
beautiful.
3 months. Oh, that's
Oh,
wonderful. That's beautiful. This is really the only part of society, or the only time I ever hear people gasp. How many kids do you have? 3. Oh, for Christ's sake, no.
No,
No, the humanity.
All I was thinking was I used to drink a lot, and I used to do things that I regretted.
You did?
Yeah.
Are you sober now?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have done some great voices.
I did, especially in prison.
You weren't in prison.
I was in a jail in the Caribbean.
Really?
Only 4 days, but that's enough.
Well, hold on a
You had to
second.
keep everybody laughing
Right,
for fear what might happen.
Write Booze Caribbean in jail there, because as soon as we sew things up with Mike,
You want to hear the story?
yes, if in fact.
No, I'm just identifying with the guy. You drink and you do things that you wouldn't do.
Well, let's talk about Mike real quick.
right.
Mike,
Yeah.
do you have a family history of alcoholism?
I believe so. I was going to say that, I grew up in my house with my mom. She was abusive and neglective toward me.
Was she an alcoholic, or was Dad an alcoholic?
My dad, he's been in and out of prison most of his life, and he's been addicted to dope.
All right, so you're in all probability an alcoholic, and this is just one of the many consequences that will begin to mount in response to your disease.
Right.
So one of the most important acknowledgments you need to make is that you need to do something about this particular disease. That going back with your wife is not going to change the progression of alcoholism, but it is going to get worse with time, and the consequences are going to get worse. It's going to have more profound influences on your kids and your relationship. So if you're going to get back, and if you really want to turn things around, why don't you go to some AA meetings and try to get a sponsor and really work on things a little bit.
Yeah, I started doing that when I was in jail.
All right, cool.
I've accepted the Lord, and
Well,
let's not overdo it.
Yeah,
Mike.
don't worry about the God thing. People kind of get derailed on that, but just stay with the program, go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the steps.
It's good to accept the Lord. You just don't want to hang out with him too much.
And in point of fact, if you get better, your wife may have to follow along too. You can encourage her maybe to go to some codependency meeting in Al-Anon or something, and maybe with each of you running parallel courses, there will be a place that you guys can sort of rejoin in a healthier way.
Well, Mike,
on behalf of your kids, for crying out loud.
That's what I was going to say, so I could get the sympathy vote.
There you go.
Mike, here's your job. You come from a crappy environment. I'm guessing your folks come from a crappy environment. They probably come from a long line of crappy environments. You have 3 kids. you're starting off on shaky ground here, but your job is not to have your kids call this show in 25 years, and if I'm here in 25 years, I'll effing kill myself, and tell me about their boozing, abusive, in and out of prison pop, just like you're telling me about your pop. You understand? Break the chain. That's it. That's it. Be a man. You're dad now. Take care of business.
Stay with the program.
All right.
Go to meetings.
Yeah,
No kid. Now, Darrell, how much? It's funny, and I don't know why, but I always think I can tell people that had some kind of problem with booze, and that didn't jump out at me with Darrell. Drew, did you get any kind of vibe off of Darrell?
No.
No. You just being kind?
No, I can't. When people aren't in their disease, I can't tell.
Oh, you can?
No.
Okay.
Because they're not in it.
Because they're in the disease. I can tell. I can tell in a sec when somebody walks in the room when they're they're not in recovery or early parts of the disease.
Well, how long you been?
I can actually tell before the disease gets going.
How long have you been sober? First off, Darrell.
Over a year.
Over a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And how much boozing did you have under your belt?
Don't have to answer that question, by the way.
Oh, you don't?
That's a pretty intrusive question.
What
I didn't mean in liters. I just meant how many years were you doing the boozing? That's not a big deal, is it?
Off and on for a long time. Maybe 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I started in college, and it was really incredibly great. And I moved to New York, and I got in some plays, and it was even greater. And then I remember one day I woke up, and I guess after 5 years in New York, and it hit me that I hadn't, not been drunk for like 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So every day you'd had a drink? Just about?
Yeah, a barrel of
To the best of your recollection?
Absolutely.
Now, what happened in the Bahamas?
Interestingly enough, I got clipped down there for I know I've done a lot of reckless things while I was, into that partying, but that I could easily have been, put in jail on. I mean, irresponsible drinking.
Right.
And down there, I was drinking responsibly. I was hammered.
Right.
But no problem. The ship was just right outside the window of this restaurant.
Were you performing on the ship?
Yeah.
And you were doing stand-up, and they had you booked for a couple of weeks?
And we were docked one night in the Bahamas. And a guy kept pestering on me all night long to try and give me cocaine, which I don't do coke. I'll cop to being, having a problem with booze. I'm a drinker, but I never did drugs.
Right.
Don't do it.
Well,
the same biology operates. So
is that it's of no interest.
Yeah.
Not enough interest for me to pursue
but
it.
for the grace of God.
Yeah, right. And I was just the whole night. I was like, no, pal. I mean, I'm not into it. This is my thing right here. This golden rum.
Right.
The night came to almost to a close, and it was time for the ship to leave. I went upstairs in this restaurant. I walked into the bathroom, into the stall, and this man came into the stall with me. And I was exposed at that point, and he said, I think you should take this with you. I said, okay, fine,
Is this a guy you knew before that?
No. He walked into that stall, into that, like the little man area.
Wow.
Because it's like, it's not just in your personal space, you're exposed. And, I mean, my New York training taught me that I was about to get mugged.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said, fine. And he put that into my coat pocket. I said, fine. I went downstairs, walked out, went downstairs, foot of the stairs, 5 cops busted me.
Really?
This is the story.
So it's a total setup?
According to the DEA, it was a setup, yeah.
This was a guy trying to get off his own.
Not only was it
problem.
a setup, it was also done, like they said, the guy said, there's 12 ships a week. They try it on every ship. And basically they keep you in these amazingly horrifying cells for 3 or 4 days, and then they give you a trial, and then they fine you American cash dollars. And if you don't have that money, they'll put you back in that jail, and you'll die in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about a cell. You're talking about cells that had feces in them.
Really?
Yes.
Not your own?
No.
Oh, no, see, that's rough. It's your own feces, you can kind of deal with it. So it's like a Midnight Express, but with a nice ocean breeze or something.
with steel drums outside of the window.
Oh, no.
That's really great. You're sitting in a bucket of your own feces, and some guys started a conga line.
No, I would not go to the bathroom on the floor. No way. I finally, after the third day, I asked the guard, I said, please, I'm begging you, let me use the toilet.
I think someone said this, and I'm misquoting it, but you can sort of judge a country by its prisons, can't you? You know what I'm saying?
You wouldn't believe what I saw in there. You would not believe.
Now you're in for 4 days, and how much did it cost you to get out?
All told, about $3,000.
And you had to hire an attorney and all that business?
Well, a barefoot man came to me on my 4th day as I was approaching the trial in chains through the town square. And he literally was in bare feet. This is how...
And he was in chains?
No.
You were in chains?
I was in chains.
Yeah.
But he was barefoot?
He was like... And my father had flown in with all the money, the cash that he could get his hands on into the Bahamas. And the guy says, he walks up to my dad. He doesn't even look at me. He goes, I'll get your son off for $500 cash up front. My father goes, I'll give you $300 up front.
That's a great dad.
No,
my dad would have haggled him down to $150.
No, he goes, I'll give you $300 up front, cash. You get him off, I'll give you the other $2.
Oh, really?
And the guy goes, oh, okay, sure. And he was like bombed.
The barefoot guy didn't step in the feces, did he?
No,
Okay.
we were outside now.
Because you can get ringworm or something, can't you, Drew? Oh, that is an excellent story. All right, it was a real miserable 4 days, but I think it was worth it for the story.
It's not a funny story. I can't make money off it, but it's a pretty good story.
I know, but it's one of those stories you can tell your kids or tell whoever.
One night I want to tell the story of my friend Seymour, the 4th night, who came to my cell and I don't know if we have time or not.
Good.
They gave me 3 plates of grits a day. They gave 3 cups of hot water a day, which they purposely heated.
Just to make you miserable?
Yes.
It was hotter and more humid than hell in there?
This is August 11th in the Bahamas. And
I'm only laughing because I see you're in one piece and you don't have hepatitis.
Well,
but,
they put me in my own little cave. They weren't going to hurt me.
Oh, it's just...
they were just going to make me suffer. And he came in the 4th night. He's like this giant guy. He let me out of my cell.
Queequeg.
He gave me a piece of a chicken breast with spinach and a sports page. He gave me a can of Coke.
Really?
And he just said, "What are you doing here? Don't come back here."
Really?
And he said, "Here's what's going to happen," in a really cool Bahamian accent. And he goes, "They're gonna put you on trial, and if you get a good judge, they're going to send you away to the penitentiary. If you get an honest judge. If you get a corrupt judge, they're going to try to get some money from you. You should get someone to come down here with a lot of money."
How much Coke did they find on you, by the way?
It could not be weighed. It could have been salt, for all I know. I certainly didn't taste it.
Or it wasn't enough to be weighed?
No, it was in a dollar bill, and you literally could not weigh
No.
it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these other countries.
It's not these other countries. There was no due process. There's no lawyer. You're not innocent until you're proven guilty. They've thrown you in that slammer, and the captain of the police force came to me and said, if you don't plead guilty, you'll be in this cell for 18 months. This cell.
Oh.
It's not, I don't know, it doesn't have to be other countries. It's just a place, it's barbarism.
I blame it on other countries.
All right.
It really sounds worse than my one-bedroom apartment I had in North Hollywood with the 3 guys in the
Can
one
I just say this
futon.
one thing, though?
Yes.
No racism towards me whatsoever.
Really?
No, it was really I thought, because I'm a white guy. It wasn't like that at all.
And Darrell really is a white guy.
I mean, you can't get whiter, except in Alabama, I'm actually a person of color.
Especially when you start throwing the Jesse Jackson around. All right, Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live. We're going to furlough him so we can have a cigarette, and we'll be back.
You have 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'll go by Carrera. Phone number, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number, 310-854-4455.
What was that all about?
What was what about?
You go by what?
Oh, you missed the
drop.
David Arquette doing the drop. He may have been drunk.
Imagine that.
Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live. Who knew about his sordid past? But it's
but that was
all behind him now.
Interesting. That was enough to compel you to get in recovery, or did you have to go down a little further?
Yes. It was.
Because most people would just chalk it up, would blame, think of, how our listeners are. They blame the government, blame the circumstances, blame the police, and go on about their drinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was always like, I remember the funny thing about being in a situation where you're going to get killed is that if there are any things in your head that you're unclear about or have been unclear about, you suddenly become incredibly clear.
Crystal clear.
And you say to yourself, because I had been a guy that had been going around his whole life going, life sucks, everything blows, and my parents, and I'm blaming everybody. And all of a sudden he just went, now that I'm at death's door, it's very clear to me how wrong I was about so many things.
If you missed out before the commercial break, Darrell was working a cruise ship. I worked a cruise ship. I got Geechee Guy on my cruise that I took 6 months ago. But he was doing a cruise ship. Ended up in somewhere. Was it in Jamaica?
It was Bahamas.
Somewhere in the Bahamas, and ended up getting tossed into a tank. Not even really a tank, more of an aquarium, because somebody planted a little coke on him, and that was a good story. Scott, you're 25.
Yes.
What's going on?
I want to know what can be done to help premature ejaculation.
How premature?
Well, I don't do anything prior to intercourse, but basically right after intercourse starts. I mean,
That's big of you.
What's that?
You mean like when you're watching TV with your pants on, you don't have an orgasm?
How long after?
It's usually a matter of a few minutes.
Has it always been that way?
No, and it's gotten worse as time's gone on. I mean, in the beginning of my marriage, I used to be able to give my wife multiples, and now it's like as soon as she even starts hers, I'm gone.
Right.
Well, that's what happens. New broom sweeps clean.
Well,
how long have you been married?
Going on 6 years.
Now, Drew, I mean, obviously, nothing physiological has gone on.
Well, maybe it's the frequency with which they're together and that sort of thing. He maybe sort of...
Do you think a little anxiety at the beginning slowed him up a step?
Perhaps. Or, people... Prematurity can be associated with emotional condition. Certainly, and the nature of the relationship can change. But I'm thinking more of a mechanical thing.
Can't your wife learn to fake it faster?
How often are you guys having sex?
Could it also be because he's more in love and they're more intimate?
It could be, but not one of our callers.
Actually, that could be very true. I mean, I've known my wife since junior high. I mean, I don't...
Well, it's interesting you would say that, because one of the theories about prematurity...
He was in his third year of college, by the way, but she was in junior high.
One of the theories about the interpersonal aspects of prematurity was not a biologically based thing, is a man feeling so intimate that they fear being sort of swallowed into the womb, quite in something in a fantasy way. That's the fantasy.
That's why I always strap a board to my ass.
Oh, that's good, Adam.
But is there anything that can be done to prolong it or for...
Adam?
I have a couple of theories here. One is you can try to, what I call, remove a bullet from the chamber so the gun does not go off so quickly.
Tried that. It doesn't help.
You did. You've masturbated a half hour before a sexual interlude?
Yes.
You have. And it still goes off.
Well, then there is the Carolla prostate hygiene program.
Put a mop handle in your ass?
No. I mean, you make it so that it's a poof, so nothing actually comes out.
You do it so much, you're just a shot of powder. Like, it looks like after a guy steals second, he gets up and dusts himself off. It really looks, it's the same visual. Just a little brick dust. Scott, could you go for two?
You mean go one after another?
Yeah, I mean, all right, here's a question. After you have your premature ejaculation, what is your refractory period? How much downtime do you need?
Usually 10 minutes, but the only problem is that the time factor itself, availability to go again. We can't do anything until we have two babies that are under 2.
There you go. See, I think that's what this is all about. I really do.
Yeah.
That makes you anxious and rushed and...
Well, it's sort of Darwinism. I mean, it's survival of the fittest. And you learn you have to... It's like people that come from poor families, that are large families, they eat real fast. Yeah. They have to. They'll be malnourished. Scott?
Yes.
Here's what I would suggest. 2 things. Why don't you just perform a ton of oral sex on her? She'll probably enjoy that more anyway.
I try to as much as I can. I probably love it more than she does.
And she's not having the orgasm that way?
Oh, no, she has no problems with that.
Okay, so give her the orgasm that way, and then put that Jim Varney poster up at the foot of the bed, the Hey Vern guy.
Uh-huh.
That's going to add at least 8 to 12 minutes to any sex. It really will. You know, he's wearing the vest and the T-shirt with the funky fishing hat.
With the wide-angle vision of his
face. He's flat. He's not going to open some shutters over the sink, and well, he's got some thought bubble or something above his head. I don't know what to say, Scott. That certainly should do it. But if you perform oral sex on your wife for some time and she's satisfied that way, then everyone's happy, right?
Yeah, they need to work on finding some time together alone. The kids put a whole bunch of stress on the relationship.
Right. Angel,
Yeah.
you're 16.
Mm-hmm.
You're on with...
Scott seems like a great guy. I would not call him troubled.
Scott seemed like a decent guy. You're on with Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, my problem is I've been with my boyfriend Rick for about a year, and I'm really, really good friends with his family. I mean, to the point where I can just walk over to his house and just walk in, and his family's there, and they'll invite me in for like a movie and popcorn or something. And I went over there one day, and I usually just walk in his room without knocking, because we've been together so long, it really doesn't seem to matter. And
How old is he?
he's 22.
And you're 16?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. How long have you been together?
almost a year.
So he was 21 and you're 15?
Yeah.
Hey, Angel,
Mm-hmm.
could you stop baking or whatever it is you're doing in the background?
Oh, that's my friend. She's messing with her candle. Sorry.
Okay, tell her to drop the Wicca crap for about 5 minutes until we get off the phone.
Okay.
Thanks.
What angel happened to you to lead you to get involved with somebody that much older than yourself?
Well, he treated me really good, and I've always, hung out with older people, and I don't know, I feel like I belong more with, like, older sets.
There may be some gambling going on here, Drew. Do you feel like gambling?
A couple of questions.
All
How
right.
old were you when you first had sex?
About 14.
And how old was the guy?
He was 17.
I'm not quite.
Right, but about 14 means 12 and a half, 13.
No,
13.
well, almost.
Technically 13.
This could just be a depraved situation, not an overtly abusive one.
Always
Resulting-
attracted to older men.
But it could be just the way out.
See, she said the key phrase, which was, he treats me good.
And I love him.
No, just he treats me good.
Well, what happened when you walked in?
Well, my best guy friend, he's 19 and he's gay, and my boyfriend, I've introduced him to my friends. They all know him, they like him, they get along with him good. And I walked in and I found him and my best guy friend making out.
Really?
And after that, I just stood there for about 5 minutes, and they finally looked up and noticed me, and then I just ran out, and I haven't spoken to him for about 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know what to do. I mean, should I talk to him? Should I confront him? Should I talk to my friends? I mean...
well, is he calling you?
No, he hasn't called me. I think he's probably afraid of what I'm going to say to
He
him.
hasn't called you? Well, this may be it for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, we had a really good relationship. I mean,
Yeah, but it wasn't what you thought it was. And I'm not surprised by that. The guy's 22, you're 16. He should be in graduate school, and you are a junior in high school.
I'm going to be a junior.
You're going to be a junior.
All right,
a
so
sophomore in high school.
But here's my point. You meet this dude when you're in the 9th grade, and he is a junior in college.
He's an adult.
Theoretically.
He's graduated college.
At 21?
Yeah.
No, you go to college, you start when you're 18, 19, you're 21, you're a junior in college. Don't give me a hard time with that, Drew. Just because, how old were you when you graduated?
21.
All right, but you're a smart ass, right? Listen, isn't that kind of pathetic, Darrell? I mean, think about that. You're dating a 9th grader when you're almost or a senior in college?
I just can't pass judgment.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Oh, just because you did a little time. Doesn't mean, just because you're in the hole for a few days doesn't mean you can't pass judgment. I pass judgment all day long.
I won't. She has a problem and she needs some help.
Oh, this
Come on.
Darrell, he's way too soft.
Oh.
All right, Angel, here's the deal. The guy's suspect.
Right.
By virtue of the fact that he was with you when you were so young and he was so old, and then he's exploring an alternative lifestyle.
Yeah, so we would sort of suggest you wrap up this relationship. No matter how nice he was, it is not what you think it is. But our bigger concern is why you would get yourself in a position like that in the first place, and what can we do to get some insight about that so you don't do it again because you're going to.
And it doesn't really matter whether the guy was with a guy or with a girl. The point is he was with someone else.
He's a cheater, and he's not what you thought he was. And but he is what we think he was. A cheater.
When we initially heard it.
Yeah. I mean, he's somebody who's going to be a predator because only predators swoop in as adults and pluck away 9th graders.
Yes.
for relationships. For intimate encounters.
I'm not only compelled to pass judgment, but I'm paid. I'm required to pass judgment on our listeners. I will get fired if I go one night without passing judgment.
I swear I'll report him.
I'll get S-can from this job. Melissa.
Yeah, hi.
You're 20.
Yeah.
You're a lesbian junkie.
Melissa, what's up?
No.
I just had a comment on your previous call about the premature ejaculation.
Do you have some techniques for us?
Yes, they're actually, one's called the squeeze technique.
Yeah, listen, we have tried over the years to recommend these techniques to people.
I blew out an eardrum trying that a week ago. I really did.
We're gonna let you do it, but they either A, don't work or just impossible to describe over the radio. But go ahead, where you squeeze at the head.
Right.
Yeah.
You bring the guy almost to orgasm, and then you squeeze at the head, and then you just keep repeating that, basically. And I'm sure it's by the technique. I think is it Masters and Johnson.
Yeah, but it's an old technique, and it's been some people it works, some people it doesn't.
But to me,
it's not a
Drew,
panacea.
we've discussed this before. By the way, if you squeeze me right before the point of orgasm,
You explode.
it would come out like wiper spray, and I'd probably smack you because I'd be so distracted and pissed off. But once the body has begun a function, whether it be a sneeze, a vomit, or an orgasm,
Well,
it seems the idea to physically block that process seems almost dangerous.
You're supposed to do it before that moment, but just before.
Actually, I work with a sex therapist, and he pretty highly recommends it. Also, very low dosages of antidepressants have also been shown to delay.
That's a good point. That is a good.
ejaculation.
That is a good point. And it's hard to predict whether or not it's going to eliminate your libido or eradicate your erectile function or eliminate orgasm.
Do you
altogether.
rub them directly on the penis?
But no, antidepressants, the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, other than Cerazone, tend to suppress libido quite substantially.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live. We have to run to a break. I want to keep Melissa on for a second because, first off, I'm intrigued that she works with a sex
I
therapist.
want to know what she does.
Maybe a little surrogate work?
I don't know.
Perhaps. All right, we'll be...
On radio station. KROQ-FM, Pasadena, Los Angeles.
The world famous K-Rock.
It is Loveline. I'm Ace Rockola, and that's my partner, Dr. Drew. Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live, and if you haven't seen the show in a little while, Darrell does some of the funniest and most interesting and most convincing impersonations around. Really, actually, now I'm trying to think of sort of who your competition is. I mean, I guess Phil Hartman has been known for doing a few voices,
Right.
it seems like he's slowed down a little with that lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got the other gig, the
News radio.
But I mean, as I understood it, I was hired to replace him.
Oh, really?
Because he was so good at voices. Yeah, he's terrific.
It's a good idea, and I know they've always had guys, their cast members have always done a couple of impersonations, but, it's a smart idea to have sort of an anchor who does 20 really stellar voices, who, when something goes on politically, when Clinton screws up again, or Jesse Jackson, or whatever, you got someone who can pull it off.
And that's exactly what they hired me for, and that's exactly why from time to time, if nothing really happens politically, you might not see, that much of me. But I was hired primarily, for that.
Well, you did Jesse Jackson, I should say, a little bit earlier in the evening, and I always feel this show's a little different in the sense that we try to concentrate on the calls and not force our guests to perform like monkeys, but. I do really.
Resist.
I can't resist.
Isn't Melissa still on the line?
We're going to get her back.
Okay.
Don't worry about her.
All right.
She's one of the little people.
Okay.
And you were saying, I don't know if I think it was off the air that he does a Martin Luther King, which I don't believe I've seen on Saturday Night Live. Although
I wouldn't do it. No, not in a comics setting.
Well, do an homage.
Oh, maybe.
Just a little.
Maybe.
That's all right.
No, I don't know.
Later?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't want it. I don't want anyone to even think that I might be making fun of them.
Well, I mean, there's like I said, it'd be an homage. You wouldn't have him going down to the liquor store for a 40-ounce or anything like that.
I might do a couple lines later, but I got to think about it.
Okay, want to think about that?
Yeah.
Now you've been here for an hour. If you got any kind of line on doing me or Drew. No.
I can't do people I like.
Oh.
Other than
Such wonderful BS.
No, no.
You don't want to try my nasally drone
No.
just for a couple syllables?
Hang out with you guys and listen
All right,
to the calls.
I'm just, you know.
I'll do some voices. I'll do plenty.
All right, well, who would you like to do? All right, do Clinton, yeah.
Adam loves this. You must be one of those people that just, when somebody has that talent, just make him a voice.
Do it.
Is that you? It is, isn't it?
No, I mean,
You can't resist.
Well, listen. Here's the deal. Quite honestly, we're doing a radio show, and there's a lot of people in a lot of cities that are listening to it. And Darrell is chock full of this talent. And if I'm sitting home listening to this show, I'm pissed off by now because I haven't heard enough Darrell doing his voice.
The calls are the star.
Screw them. They'll be back tomorrow night. We'll have Bob Eubanks in here making an a-hole of himself. Listen, I love Bob Eubanks. I got plenty. I got plenty of stories.
Gene and John, get this question right. You'll be our grand prize winners today. I love that guy.
All right. Well, how about a little Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton. Well, lately I've been thinking that with Hillary's endorsement, that Clinton what?
I was just thinking, how would Hillary? If let's say Monica called in here and Bill was our guest.
So you want to try that?
You want to be Monica?
Well, no, why don't we... I'm sorry. I was thinking of letting our caller just be the caller and let... she works at a sex clinic.
What's going on with Monica, anyway? Is she still around?
Haven't heard from her in a while. I have no idea.
I would love...
Starr's made a terrible mistake, by the way.
What's that?
You shouldn't let Clinton have
time.
Give him yes. Yeah. You shouldn't let him defend himself publicly because his charisma is. I mean, I got to meet him and hang with him just like for a few minutes. Yeah. It's like I don't know. He's the kind of guy that that could say something like to a girl like if you'd only take your clothes off and let me see you naked, there would be no more racism. I swear to God. I swear to God. All right, is that Clinton?
Yes. And Clinton, you can stay on with us and help us advise Melissa. Now, Melissa says she works with a sex therapist.
Yep.
And you're giving us some tips on how to prevent premature E.
Right. Actually, I have another comment also.
Well, let me ask you a question or two before you give us that.
All right.
Are you a surrogate?
No.
Do you know any?
No.
No. Do HMOs cover surrogates, Drew?
No.
Oh, Christ. I'm really hurt now. What do you do at the sex therapist's office?
Actually, I do research with him.
You do?
I'm a student.
Mm-hmm. And is that code for oral sex, or do you actually work on things?
No, yeah. I help him evaluate a treatment program for sex offenders.
Mm-hmm.
You're an undergraduate.
Yes.
Now, let me ask Bill Clinton. That is a problem in this country, sex offenders.
He sort of had an issue with this.
Yeah.
SA might be a place for him to land one of these days.
Do these people, should they rot in jail, like when Darrell Hammond was in here talking about being in the Bahamas, or do we try to rehab these people?
I want you to make no mistake about it. If you are caught, then you go to jail. But if you're in a hotel room and you are not caught, then it didn't occur.
So, no harm.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Melissa?
Yeah?
Are you planning on being a sex therapist one day yourself?
No.
What is the therapist degree? Is he a PhD?
PhD psychologist, yes.
Okay.
Right. So what was your second comment, Melissa?
It was probably 2 or 3 months ago, a young kid called in and asked, what percentage of females masturbate. And I know Drew said very few.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
What'd you say?
I said that they usually take a while. It's usually at a young age they tend to be very few as compared to males, but as they get older it tends to be relatively high.
Okay.
And that it takes connecting with a more emotional place rather than a mechanical, biologically driven act. And it takes women a while to figure it out.
Unless they're in the tub. In which case it all becomes crystal clear.
But it's really quite common. And what I said was BS. That I said it's sort of BS that people are saying that it's the culture that prevents women from exploring that way. I'm saying it's more the way they're put together biologically that takes the time for it to evolve at an older age.
What do you know about this, Melissa?
I know the percentage is not as high as men, but it is high, and I do think that it's the culture, basically.
What?
Okay, for men, it's a natural biological instinct
She's
for
a
men.
little firecracker, this Melissa.
It's not for women.
Who says that? raising kids. I don't know about my parents that are raising kids that are telling the little girls not to do that.
It doesn't even have to be said. It's a very subtle.
You know what? It would take a team of. They would have to tie young males down, and they still would find some way of doing it.
I would learn to masturbate through
no matter how intense
telepathy.
That's right.
I swear to God, if you tied my hands up for long enough, I would be able to manipulate my penis through thought. I really would.
You would find some way within a couple of days.
Absolutely. Melissa?
No matter, even if he were going to be thrown in the Bahamian jail, Adam would not have an opportunity to stop.
No.
But if women were taught that, also they would do the same thing.
I'm afraid not.
Listen, smartass, you work with a sex therapist. Why don't you open your ears? There's a biology here. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
There's a difference between men and women. There really is. Okay? It's not black and white. It's not that the men do it 24/7 and women never do it, but there is a biological component here. Guys start earlier and they do it more often.
Right, but
That's
not
all.
to the degree that most people think.
Okay, what can we put you down for?
Probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Fairly active for 20.
And that's
20
actually for most of my friends also, female friends. And I think it's changing with our generation. Also, I think maybe yours and Drew's are a little bit more conservative. I think our generation is.
Well, our generation, they don't masturbate as much because they have the corset and the knickers they have to pull down and the elaborate set of trusses. I mean, and plus those high boots that lace up all the way up to the knee. I mean, it could take a woman 45 minutes just to get those knickers down, Drew.
Hey, Melissa. Melissa, can I sing you a song? Hello?
Yeah?
Can I sing you a song?
Sure, go ahead.
You are so beautiful to me. I live at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Why don't you just stop by sometime? Thank you, and God bless you, Melissa.
Oh, that Melissa. She's a little spark plug.
But I think she is right that women are more apt to do it these days, and perhaps even at a younger age. But they are not doing it at 14 the way young males are, and they could stop. If they have to, if they're inclined.
Right. I would need is there something more than a 12-step program? Because I don't think that would do it.
It'd be like a bullet in the head.
Is that true, though? Is that girls never really reach a point where they go, maybe I'm doing this too much? I mean, they don't have it.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know.
Not the way guys. Women compulsory masturbate. There is such a thing.
Oh, okay.
And in our experience, usually women that were sexually abused will either get that way or completely of sex aversive.
Ah.
Richard?
Hey.
You're 29.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. You're on with Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live.
Hey, Richard. How you doing, man?
Hey, Darrell, can you do just a little shot of Phil Donahue? Because that really is my favorite of all your impressions.
Donahue, let's see. Boy, Melissa, I mean, come on. You and your friends sit around talking about who can we trust. And, oh, please, dear God, how do we keep ourselves off this very real psychological trapdoor? But hang on. How does the guy who just sat down at table 14 look to you? And wait a minute, who's a candidate for this kind of thing? And we will be back.
Very good. Richard?
I used to do that in jail.
What's going on?
Hey, the show's great.
Thanks.
I do it every night. And Mr. Hammond, I tape the Saturday Night Live every week, and so I can. And I usually watch it live too, but I tape it so I can examine the interesting parts again.
Thanks a lot. I mean, I hope thanks.
What do you do for a living, Richard?
Me?
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a guess. No, I'm in computers.
Oh, okay. I thought perhaps you were a budding comedian or something like that.
Actually, that's the interesting point, because my question was for Mr. Hammond, or Darrell, if I may.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to know, may I?
Yeah. I'll do yes, of course.
Okay. I wanted to
know...
What
is this? We're in the deep south around the turn of the century here, Richard?
You got Darrell on the air. Come on.
People are just too informal these days.
I know. Go ahead. What's up?
I want to know how you made your way to Saturday Night Live, and maybe some stories of some others, because I think that might be an interesting career move for myself or some of my friends.
I started out in Orlando doing open mic nights. I got good enough to become an MC, and then good enough to be a feature, and then good enough to be a headliner.
This is all stand-up, by the way.
Right, and then I went on the road, and I got pretty good. Then I went to New York City and got rejected by every club in Manhattan for a couple of years, and improved my act. And then I got into the clubs. I mean, I did it all with stand-up. I got to the point where someone finally saw me. And at the time, I was doing one line as Bill Clinton. It's good to do, I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, it's good to do dialects and work on things like that. But stand-up is a good route to at least be seen.
I can barely do my own accent. So.
Well,
do you, Richard?
Yeah.
You do any impersonations?
Not intentionally.
There's a good cat there.
Yeah, that was very convincing. You don't?
No, I did a little bit of stand-up at UCLA. I was in the UCLA Comedy Club. I know Chris Hardwick, actually.
Right, he was in that.
how did it go for you there?
I'm really bad at it.
Oh, well, so is everyone.
Yeah,
when they
Chris
start.
told me you sucked.
No, it takes time. I mean,
Oh,
I started out. I still kind of suck in a way. I sucked the other night. Never mind.
by the way, you can see Darrell sucking in Irvine Wednesday through Sunday at the Improv.
Yeah, I'll be sucking up the road. Hopefully not too
I
often.
don't live there anymore, but
Well-
It's basically start out. I started out at open mic nights, and worked and kept going.
Or you can do what both you did. Get a radio gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, much faster and takes much less talent. I sucked doing stand-up for quite a while myself. I couldn't stand it, but you just plug away at it, and definitely be prepared to suck for at least a couple of years, which is what they don't really tell you. Because
Yeah.
you figure, hey, if you're funny, I mean, you've been cracking up your friends and your classmates and your family for since you were 4 years old. You figure, well, you just get up on stage and you weave some of that same magic.
Except it's a totally different medium.
And you do get to weave the magic. It's just after you suck for 5 years.
Yeah. It's true, and I don't really know any good comics that didn't have a really rough couple of first, years.
Well, if you
with some successes.
if you come across any, I'm kick them in the nuts for me.
Yeah.
Denise,
Yes.
you're 26.
Yeah.
You're on with Darrell Hammond, who doesn't suck anymore.
Not that often anyway.
My question is, I'm 8 months pregnant with my third child, and my first pregnancy I was had twins less than 2 years ago. But my question is, it's not that I don't enjoy sex. Pregnancy.
And by the way, I was groaning because I know that she's sort of has virtual triplets now.
Yeah, well,
Two 2-year-olds and a newborn.
Yeah, well, but I guess my question is, though, is it's not that I don't enjoy sex, but I guess if I don't have it, I don't miss it. And I don't understand, with my first pregnancy, I went 9 months pregnant. I mean, I was 9 months pregnant, and I had sex throughout the pregnancy, and I wanted it. But this time I'm just...
No, that was twins. It's a different biology, for one thing.
It is?
Yeah.
It's not just double the biology?
It's double the biology, but that's a different biology. And, I'm not sure that somebody could explain to you specifically why that would happen. It's not uncommon for people to have different experiences pregnancy to pregnancy.
Okay.
Usually people's sex drive goes up in the third trimester. How far along are you?
I'm 8 months, and so it actually went down.
Yeah.
I just have no desire.
You know what I think this is? I think this is God's breaker fuse. Like on your garbage disposal, there's that reset button.
Right.
If you put too many like corn cobs down it just trips.
Stops, yeah.
And it just stops because it's like you're going to fry a bearing if it keeps going.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just your little breaker switch. Maybe you need to cool down for a little while and then tell your husband to go under the sink and see if he can reset it.
Okay. And I had called last week, and you put me on hold, and I got disconnected.
Oh.
Regarding my husband, he wants to get a vasectomy, and he's 25, and since it's our third child, and our doctor doesn't want to do it.
Why?
And I guess my
Too young?
question is if there's reason why, just besides his age.
I think he just doesn't want to touch his nuts. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. You have 3
He's got
kids.
3 kids. I mean, even if, God forbid, you guys were to get divorced and he wanted to establish another family, better he shouldn't. All things being equal.
Yeah.
But our doctor is just trying to talk us out of doing it, and I didn't know if there was a medical reason why he shouldn't do it at 25 instead of just being young.
The only reason not to do it is if you're done having with the phase of your life where you have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal, and you can quote me on this, Denise, when you talk to this guy next.
Okay.
I don't think it's something you can put an age to. It's something you can put a family to. Meaning, you don't do it to a 25-year-old guy because normally 25-year-old guys don't have a family.
Right.
They have either no kids or one kid, and they may possibly want another kid or possibly two before they're done.
Right.
If you're 35 or 40 with 3 kids, he probably would have done it right there.
Yep.
So the point is having 3 kids is the issue, not the age.
I agree.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
That's very rare, Darrell.
All right, the 2 of you?
Yeah, we normally do not agree on stuff.
Don't let anybody know.
I want to know.
This could be grounds for dismissal.
Really good. Anita.
Yes.
You're 22.
Yeah.
You're on with Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
It's on Saturday nights, Bob.
All right.
Okay. I didn't plug the show. I figure 25 years would be enough, but it's a good, let me take this moment and say something about Saturday Night Live. I've said this many times, but coming from a background of sketch comedy, it's a much taller order than people know. Yeah. Very difficult to come up with new, strong, and original material that, by the way, you only get to do once.
Yeah. That's the thing that blows me away.
If you go around town, you go to the Groundlings or the Acme Theater or Second City or whatever, they run shows, and they run those shows for 3 months, and the performers get a chance to really hone the material. When I used to do sketch, the first 5 times I went up on stage with a sketch, I sucked. It was only toward the end of the show that you sort of found the beats in it and worked it out, and it was halfway decent. Doing it one time and then letting the chips fall where they may and doing another bit the next week is a bitch because you can never really hone the nuances and find the moments in the bit. So it's a real tall order.
Yeah, and I don't even understand it because I never take a bit on television that I haven't done 20 times. Never. Never. Oh, no. And this is like the first time?
Right.
Oh, dude, I still don't understand what goes on there.
It's on TV, for Christ's sake. I'd do it in front of my grandparents and walk around with a paper sack on my head for a week. But I think Saturday Night Live is stronger than it's been in years.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it now. All right, I'm done kissing butt. Anita?
I doubt it.
No, there may be a little more ass kissing. I just want to dangle that carrot out in front of you.
Ass kissing is good, no.
What's that? Real quick.
Excuse me?
We got to go to break, so let's hear the question and we'll come back to you.
Okay, well, the question is me and my husband and a girlfriend, we all had sex together. And I used a toy on her, and I didn't know, but the day before she had sex with her boyfriend. And I'm worried about possibly getting pregnant from the sperm inside of her.
Interesting.
Womb going into me.
Okay, I understand.
I don't. What was it, Drew?
She had sex with her boyfriend the day before.
The girl who experimented with her and her husband.
Yeah, and this girl, they inserted something in her and then inserted something in Anita. The same thing. And she's wondering if any leftover sperm could have gotten on this fomite, as we call it.
That's which we're calling the Beanie Baby a fomite now?
Yes, yeah.
All right, that's an interesting question, Drew. We will be back to solve that puzzle with Darrell Hammond after this. Chocolate Lover, Drew.
Is that who that is?
Yes. She loves Drew, this Tyra Banks. I almost killed myself that night.
You make an awful lot about that.
I really do.
I'm not sure that it's that...
Tyra Banks. Darrell Hammond is here from Saturday Night Live. And
Tyra Banks likes him?
Big crush on Drew. And I don't mean one of those schoolgirl crushes.
Right.
I'm talking about a full court press. I mean, I'm talking about a
And
big...
you're a married person,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He couldn't accept her overtures, at least on the...
That's like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tyra Banks coming on you?
Yeah, we once did a sketch on SNL that fell apart for technical reasons about when John Kennedy got married. And he's lying on the beach with his new love, and these models, hey, John, because they all love him.
Right.
I mean, that's just astonishing.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
being him,
I'm not thankful that it doesn't happen to me, but I'll tell you, that is a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? I mean, really, it's most guys' dream to have a supermodel even memorize their first name, much less come on the radio, sit across from them, and explain to them that they have a legitimate crush on them. Right. And the fact that you can't act on it is like when Darrell was in lockdown in Puerto Rico.
No.
It's as if someone had put filet mignon in a roll of toilet paper just out of reach of his prison cell.
Right.
And he just got to stare at it.
Well, you didn't tell him. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, I forgot to tell him.
And it's strange. It's just too weird. It's like, wait a minute. I mean, I can understand every once in a while everyone someone has a crush on them, but but Tyra Banks?
Right.
God.
And in what universe are you equipped to say no to Tyra Banks?
Yeah.
What kind of training do you have for that?
I've often wondered what it would be like. You're at your wedding ceremony and you're deeply in love, and then someone like that, a Brooke Shields or something, comes up and goes, "Have we ever, well, let's do it right now." And you just say, "No, honey, I'm about to get." No, we're going to do it right now. And just like, please, what kind of a person are you? Not now.
I have to believe that, and I'll make an exception for Drew, but there's a lot of men who cheat, and then there's some men who don't cheat.
There
but
are.
I believe I could convert that group. I could whittle down that group that doesn't cheat into a much smaller unit. Probably enough to fit into a Yugo in this country if I threw the likes of Tyra Banks at them.
I would think that if she wanted to do something to you, there probably isn't a damn thing on earth you could do to stop it.
No, and you know what? I would be right up front with my girlfriend about
It's
that.
just-
I think that would be an acceptable excuse.
It's just too much.
Hear me out, honey. It was Tyra Banks. Here, sniff.
But it's
sniff.
not just sexuality. It's exponential sexuality. It's sexuality to the 15th power.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's why they put the pause button on the VCR. It's like, this is an estrogen field. Do you understand? Right. I mean, I don't know. But he's as there are men, and I know them, and they don't.
I know. Your wife and kids, I can't even imagine it.
All right.
Absolutely.
You may not imagine it now, but let me tell you the last thing that's going to flash through your mind when you're lying on your deathbed, Drew. Big picture of Tyra in a two-piece. That will be your last vision before you leave this earth. Yeah, Engineer Mike, could you hold up? You got a picture of Tyra there? That's what you said no to. Here, hold that up. No thanks, sweetie. Sorry. Maybe some other time.
Hey, this is Tyra Banks, and you're listening to Loveline.
Oh,
Carolla
please.
and
Get out of here, Tyra. What's the matter? Beat it. Yeah.
All right, so, Darrell, producer Ann asked for a little couple.
Couple.
Because that is her favorite.
Okay.
We all have our favorites.
It's my favorite, too.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I actually got to meet him and perform for him this year at the Museum of Broadcasting in New York. It was a tribute to him. All the biggies were there. Peter Jennings, a bunch, all of them. Barbara Walters, Ben Bradley.
Peter Jennings is a very short man. He like jumps off his chair to.
What? Peter Jennings?
I heard
he looks tall.
No, I'm sorry. It was the guy before him that used to do Frank.
Oh yeah, Frank Reynolds. Yeah, he was a little guy. Yeah. A couple is, is not that small. He's like 5'9" or 10, and I always thought he would be a tiny guy, but he's not. Anyway, so he was there, and I came in like in the Koppel drag, just like I did with Clinton. With Clinton, I had the nose on and everything. I'm standing.
Wait, you did it for him?
I was in the Oval Office.
Oh.
And I got the nose on, and he walks in, and I was like, I just said, Mr. President, I feel I'm not even going to try to not say that I don't feel stupid. And he just looked at me and he went, I think you look terrific. I think you look just fine. Why don't you just come on in here? And he puts his arm around me. He's like, I just love what you do. And why don't you just come on in here and we're going to have some fun. And, hey, Hillary, come on over here and take a picture with your two husbands.
How surreal.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
How surreal is that?
How weird is
It's,
you can't even describe it.
Now, I don't know how to... Just being in the White House.
It's like 1 minute you're swimming in a pool of your own feces in Cameroon, and the next minute Clinton's got his arm around you.
Yeah, and he's like, and he's so personable, and he's like, hey, when we do this speech tonight, I'd like to throw in like this phrase, yada yada yada. Don't you think that'd be funny? And you're like, yeah, yes, Mr. President. But what was weird was there's like these two Secret Service guys, and if you think about the mindset of a Secret Service man, I mean, their deal is they're looking for someone to whack.
Right.
Okay. If these guys die and they haven't whacked anyone or given up their life for the president, it's been sort of an incomplete experience.
Right.
So they're standing there, hands full, and he's like, do you think yada yada's funny? And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's very funny. And then he like kind of cast a gaze at these two killers. Do you think that's funny, yada yada? And they're just like, what? What? Is he talking to us? is he talking to us? You know, like that. It was just like strange. But he has this like ability to make you feel so at home, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
I
see
think
Primary
he did that
Colors?
to the country.
Did I?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I plan.
It'd be interesting since you know have met him to see that film.
Yeah.
I found it a disturbing film.
All right, let's not digress too much because I still want to hear a little cop.
All right,
Okay.
there we go.
What are we going to have?
So
him do?
you
Talk about this show.
Well, you were actually telling about when you met him at the Television Radio Museum in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went up to him and I had like this whole prepared bit I was supposed to do. And first of all, when I walked in, Sam Donaldson was making a speech, and a lofty one at that. And he had taken a hand mic and he was walking around. He was talking to all the people, you know. And, you know, I sort of walked in and he was saying something like, and we were in St. Louis and we chartered a plane. You know, like that. Oops, that stuff.
That's all right.
And then I was supposed to say something to Koppel, all I could say to him, and I said it in his voice, which was so weird. I was sweating. And I just said, "Are you mad at me?" He was so sweet, and he goes, "Heavens no, I'm not mad at you. Here, give me the microphone." Like that. And I was like, I gave him the hand mic, so he takes the mic, and, you know, and I had on the Koppel wig, and so he turns to Rune Arledge, and he goes, "Rune, you cheap bastard, if you paid me a living wage, I could afford a decent rug like this one." And it's like, and Donaldson comes over, "I wasn't finished with my story." It's weird.
Hey, did you ever see the show The Thunderbirds? Remember the old Marionation cartoon? Sam Donaldson was modeled after one of these characters. I don't think the character is modeled after Sam Donaldson. If you ever see this old thing, it was filmed in Super Marionation. It were these puppets from England.
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum,
They had a couple of them. It wasn't just Thunderbirds. There was like XR19.
It was some science fiction Super Marionation puppet
Johnny
thing
Quest meets
from like
puppets,
the mid or late 60s that they did in England, and one of the guys was Sam Donaldson.
Yes.
I mean, it was him.
Yes.
He had the one eyebrow up the whole time.
He always was by himself piloting planes out from underwater.
Yes, I mean, close your eyes.
Yes.
It was him.
Yes.
All right.
In the limited time we have available, there's the whole story about Tyra Banks. We want to get to that in just a couple of minutes. Nobody believes you when you say you're not interested, but we're going to talk about that after a break.
Anita.
So Anita's back with the fomite.
That's right. Yeah. So this is a brilliant story. Anita has a husband.
Right.
Her and her husband and a girlfriend all had a threesome.
Mm-hmm.
A sex toy was placed in you.
And in her.
And in her. And she had sex with her husband the night before. And there may have been some residual product from that experience left inside her, correct?
Yeah.
At least in theory. Do you have any kids?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. And how was the threesome, by the way?
It was all right.
How's your relationship with your husband?
I was a little jealous, but
Yeah.
Did he have sex with her?
no.
What did he do?
Yeah, I was in control. I still didn't. So, because my husband had the fantasy, so kind of like he's been telling me about since the beginning of us going out. So then he kept telling me, and then so I thought, oh, it'll be okay.
It's never okay.
And I mean, I got jealous of some things, but we spoke about it, and we're working through it.
It's the beginning of instability. It can really
who's jealous
create
about
problems.
the threesome? Is it him?
She
or-
is. She's jealous that he enjoyed it and was fondling the other girl.
But he's got some feelings too, right?
I don't think he's okay with it.
He is.
Yeah, everybody was okay with it because we did it 2 times.
He was fondling the other girl?
He what?
He was fondling the other girl?
No, he was fine with everything we did.
He was touching the other girl?
Yeah, he did.
He did. How much touching? What base did he get to?
Well, okay, it was mostly me and her, but he went and had oral sex on her.
Oh, he did.
One time, one lick.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Here's what I would do if I was performing oral sex on a girl in front of my girlfriend. Every 3.5 seconds, I poke my head up and look right at her, and then put my head down. I mean,
ask if it was okay.
Yeah, it'd be like you come home and the dog's just chewing the hell out of your slippers, and you stand there, and the dog just can't figure out why it's not getting a boot in the ribs at some point. I mean, how could he possibly enjoy that?
Well, he looked up at me, and I told him to, a bad word, and then he stopped.
Yeah, this is a disaster.
Huh?
You have kids. This is a disaster.
How many kids do you have?
2.
2.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to go on my tirade I went on again last night. When you have
About
kids,
the Jews?
When you have kids,
No. Okay.
you're a parent now.
That was last night.
Right.
And your fantasies and your desire to carry out whatever weird impulses you have left over from adolescence, you turn those in. Those are null and void. They're not yours. You forfeit. They're not yours anymore.
Yeah.
Your job is to create a stable, healthy environment for those kids. That's it. That's your job. That's your life now.
Well,
That's
here's the object, Anita. The object is so that your little son doesn't have his face buried in some other chick's crotch about 20 years from now while his wife looks on. That's the goal with the kids.
If that's all that happens, that'd be the best thing.
Yeah. As it turns out, he's going to shoot Drew's kid.
Right.
We're not doing nothing no more because, we changed. I didn't, it was 2 times, and then...
All right, well, start working on your relationship. I don't think you're going to get pregnant, although it's an interesting potential there. It is possible, I suppose, but certainly not likely at all. And just get going on this relationship.
Anita, I swear to God, if you have another kid, I'm going to come over there and kick you in the abdomen.
No, you know what, my husband got fixed.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
So if she gets pregnant, we know it's from the other girl's boyfriend.
Right.
And oh, what a guy he must be.
Oh, I bet he's dreamy. I'm picturing a Fred McMurray type from My Three Sons, a guy in a cardigan smoking a pipe. Yeah.
Well, I think that we're going to have that menage a trois, and I'm going to get that dildo. It's the kind of smut many of the porn stores won't even carry.
My favorite, I think it was Koppel, but I can't, it may have been Jennings.
Come on, Mike, drop that song in.
Do you,
you've got it by now.
What song?
There it is.
Oh, really?
Steve, Doty's out in the backyard with Tramp.
Well, I think that the Tramp is attractive, and it's just a few moments before Armageddon. And Ted Campbell on Nightline or Loveline. Fred McMurray goes in the backyard, and Tramp and Doty are out there.
Where's it? Chip and Uncle Charlie. Chip is with Uncle Charlie in the bathroom.
Dad, come Uncle Charlie.
That's the beef.
That's horrible.
All right.
Sorry.
Before lightning strikes Darrell Hammond right here in the Loveline studio, we're going to take a little breather, and we'll be back.
I feel so liquidy. Really? Why? You're listening to Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell Darrell about Natasha Henstridge.
You know who she is? Species?
Yes.
Yeah. She came on here and sat there and told Adam that he should have asked her out before she got pregnant. And got a boyfriend. Or a husband? She have a husband now?
I didn't get that impression.
Yeah, pregnant. And that if he just, that she was really wanting to go out with him.
What was that
she
like?
met a year ago. We met him a year ago.
I mean, that is a level of disappointment that's difficult to fathom.
It really is.
Isn't that how David Koresh got started? Isn't that the Branch Davidians resulted?
It is. I went home. I shot my girlfriend. Then I shot myself. Then I took out 5 ATF agents, and then I set my compound on fire.
She's a nice lady, though, right?
She's, first off, real easy on the eyes. Some of these, well...
That's a lot of estrogen.
Here's what people don't know. There's some people look real good on TV, or they look real good in the soap or the movie or whatever project they're doing. But when you see them in real life, especially on the radio, where they don't doll it up, they're not real impressive. She is fantastic looking immediately, and down to earth, sweet as sugar.
I've seen her without her makeup, and she doesn't need it.
No,
she's a true beauty. Another one, Neve Campbell.
Oh, really?
When she did our show, even more attractive in person than on camera.
Really, I've never met her. I actually ran into her at NAPPY or convention like a couple of years ago.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's another. We're just talking about true beauties.
Hold on, did Neve Campbell did this show?
Oh yeah,
she was here
before she was Neve Campbell. It was like the week Party of Five came out.
I was here.
No, you were not
Yes,
here. No.
she's done it since. Yes.
When did she? I wasn't here. I was just that one time.
Don't you remember when you asked me to go up there when we were at the convention?
Yeah,
in
she
Las
didn't
Vegas?
come.
She never
yes,
came.
She came.
She did?
Really nice person,
Yeah.
too.
Oh.
Anyway.
How'd we get along?
Really enjoyable.
Did she have a crush on me, too?
No.
Well, listen, Natasha Henstridge, that's enough. Jeez, it killed me.
Not for one lifetime.
Backbreaker. Yeah. Oh, my God. All right. Oh. All right. Derek.
Derek?
Yeah?
What's going on?
I just want to say, Darrell Hammond, you're great. Your show's great. And I had a couple questions.
Okay.
First of all, I got you to word this. The actors on the show, on Saturday Night Live, do they get paid like one yearly check or bi-monthly, or do they get paid reflecting on how much they're in on the show?
No. You get paid per show.
A salary?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
And those are contracts. What is the average length of those? I know it varies.
It varies, so there's no average.
What are you signed to?
I'm not sure. I think mine is like renewable yearly or something like that. All I know is I stated my goal in the beginning, and I hope to fulfill it. I want to do another 2 years, and back then I wanted to do 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And oral sex with Lorne Michaels?
No.
No. Okay. I didn't know if that's part of the plan. From him. I'm sorry.
No.
All right, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys get paid twice a month, or you get paid every week?
Every show, every live show. We do 20 live shows a year and get paid the following like Thursday or something.
Let me explain showbiz. You don't know when you get paid because the money always goes to your manager, your agent, or something like that. And by the time the vultures are done picking off the carcass of your check,
actually, I have my ex-wife picking up my check.
Really?
She's handling my money and depositing it. You know why? Because I know she's honest. I know she's honest. That I know.
So she gets her cut.
I give her a little cut.
Right. And manager.
And she gives it to an accountant. They invest it, and she makes all the payments. But I know
publicist.
She oversees it and is not. No, only occasionally. Do I use a
I went over to my accountant's office the other day, and he told me how much I had in my bank account. And I was like, oh, hey, that's great. I had no idea. I've never seen a check. It all just goes straight to the guys who theoretically know what they're doing.
And you just have like a checking account, right? With a card.
No,
right.
They don't give him.
What's your other question?
You had David Duchovny on for the series finale.
Yeah.
Our season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think he did a good job?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do Goat Boy or that cheerleading one before.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
He nailed that Goat Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Goat Boy?
Yeah.
He nailed it. I thought he was a little bit weaker on the cheerleading sketch, but nailed the Goat Boy.
That's interesting. I actually thought he was very strong in that sketch.
In the cheerleading one?
Yeah, I did. Only because
so hard to
I
do
was
that.
listening. I mean, there was so much of that kind of cheerleader stuff that he had to pick up like immediately, and I was just listening for laughs, and he seemed to get a lot of laughs.
He got a ton of laughs, I think, because he's Dave Duchovny and he was playing a real against type.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the audience really appreciated
That's what
that.
the show is, yeah.
But I didn't think he was all that strong in that. But the Goat Boy, it was like he was practicing to be a goat for the last 5 years.
Yeah, he was really good.
I mean, he did the goat cackle or goat call like he was a cast member.
I can't even remember what I did in that show. I did Sean Connery in Jeopardy.
Yes.
Right.
Very very funny bit. Very funny. Hey, give us a shot of Sean, please.
Sean Connery. This is the line that I practiced to learn the voice. Let's see, Capone's man. Let's see, Capone's man pull a knife, you pull a gun. He puts one of yours in the hospital, you put one of his in the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
Right, that is from the
Untouchables.
Untouchables, right?
Yeah, that was the one those were the lines I was practicing with to get it. Yeah,
you nailed that one, Kayla.
Hi.
Hey, you're 23.
Hi.
What's going on?
I have a question for Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
My boyfriend of 4 years just started snoring about 6 months ago, and I'm wondering like what it's from.
Has he gained some weight?
No.
Is he drinking?
No.
Is he on a medication?
No.
Has he been sort of sleep deprived? Working a lot or exercising a lot?
It's not now that it is as much as it was like in the summer when everything it's when everything started was after all this like sleep deprivation and stuff.
Yeah, people when they sleep real heavily sometimes will snore more.
But see, he's always slept really heavy because it's been 4 years and this has only been going on for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And he slept really heavy the whole time. It's just now all of a sudden it's like it turned on.
Yeah, but I'm saying if he was sleep deprived recently or still hasn't established the normal sleep patterns.
But see, now he has. That's what I don't understand. Like if he's sleeping actually, sorry. He's sleeping really well right now.
And there's no sinus allergies or asthma or any of those sorts of things?
No, he had a slight drug problem in the summer.
What was the drug?
It was methamphetamine.
Okay, there's no slight amphetamine problem.
I know,
okay?
I know.
And nor does it go away.
You think you're gonna slide that one past Drew?
Yeah. If he had it, he still has it. He may not know what he's doing.
Try that one on you. Here'd be the fantasy reaction. Go ahead. You be Kayla.
So
I'll be you. Any sleeping problems? Sleeping heavily?
Oh yeah.
Anything different?
Nothing.
No.
Well, they would think it was all going down. He was kind of sleep deprived, but nothing. He's all sleeping normally now.
Mm-hmm. Anything else I should know about?
Nothing. Oh, there's a slight amphetamine problem.
Okay, but nothing much?
Nothing else.
Okay, well, let's see. Did he lose is there a TV remote missing or something? Perhaps he inhaled? Like they expect that. They expect that's going to be a reaction.
Kayla, he's doing something.
Actually, you know what? I know he's not because he just got a new job last week.
He doesn't smoke pot?
No, actually, he doesn't. He's 29 years old. He's really got it together. It's just
yeah, but you understand, addiction is not something that just goes away.
No, and I understand that. But actually, I do. I have my. I could see. It's like I sound stupid, but it's like I could see everything before, and now I look and I know. And and he got a random drug test 2 weeks ago. He didn't know it was coming, and I can tell because he has gained the weight back that he lost in the summer.
So he also gained weight.
Yeah, but it was just the weight that he had before he lost it this summer.
So that was actually the same weight?
Yeah, it was the
I'm
same
not
weight.
saying he's
right back.
I'm not saying he's necessarily doing speed. He may be doing.
So it was like
else.
he stored the weight. It's not like he shed the pounds. So he
I would
just sort of
suggest
stored them.
You look into Al-Anon. I think it's a good idea.
Wait.
Hey, Kayla, listen to me.
But I just kind of wanted to know about the snoring.
I'm telling you, it's because it's either he has altered his chemistry by doing so much speed that he still is having some residual effects, or he's doing something else.
It's not just because he's growing older,
no.
like old men.
Kayla, please.
He grew 6 months older.
Kayla, your denial is so profound about what you're dealing with. It's really quite striking. I suggest you go to some Al-Anon meetings and listen to some stories like yours, and so maybe get a perspective on what you're dealing with here. He may be perfectly together now, but this is part of the evolution of addiction. And once you get to a certain place, there's not a going back. There may be a break, but there's not a going back.
I've never heard that degree of denial on this show. Actually, I have. But the greatest line in the world was, well, he lost some weight and he gained some weight back, but he didn't really gain any weight. It was just the weight he lost. So he didn't really put any weight on. He just reattached some of the weight that he'd shed. You understand? It's like, growing a beard. He shaved it off, it grew back. That's all. We'll be back.
This is Loveline. Loveline will be.
You're listening to Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
I swear to God, don't let me embarrass myself that way again.
That was from 6 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we knew Adam would be on.
Oh, you're right. Good point.
Are you sure that wasn't Darrell Hammond doing Neve Campbell? He's quite talented. All right, kiddies, you can find Darrell down at the Irvine Improv Wednesday through Sunday, and you can also find him on Saturday Night Live on Saturday Night NBC, 11:30. So, God bless you, Darrell. Thank you for coming in.
God bless you.
And we had a good time with you. Anytime you'd like to stop by, plug a project, or just say hi.
Oh, yeah, I want to come back it was fun. I'll come back when I come back to L.A.
Please do. So until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying mahalo.
This has been Loveline. The opinions expressed herein are not necessarily those of the staff or management or producers or directors or the advertising or anyone. They might be Bob's.
I'm Bob, and they're mine.
The producer of Loveline is Ann Wilkins. Loveline is a presentation of Westwood One Entertainment.
Grr, arg. We now return you to your highly tested, regularly scheduled programming.
You're gay.
Bye.